With us now is CNN Global Affairs analyst Kimberly Dozier and retired U.S. Army Major John Spencer. He's an expert in urban warfare and author of Connected Soldiers, Life, Leadership, and Social Connections in Modern War. Major Spencer, Kharkiv is Ukraine's second largest city. 25% of the buildings there have now been destroyed. And as we heard Clarissa report, people there are worried their city could become the next Mariupol. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's definitely concerning. As Russia's shown, this isn't warfare. Russia's basically implementing terrorism, wantonly bombing the cities that aren't military targets. They're war crimes. I think it is very concerning, something that we have to watch and continue to be concerned about.
Kim, today's meeting between Zelensky and the U.S. Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense, the U.S.'s message was clear. Russia is failing and Ukraine will win. Blinken even saying Ukraine will be around a lot longer than Vladimir Putin. Some strong words. Why do you think the U.S. is so confident, or at least projecting confidence in this way?
Well, by this visit, the U.S. has really put a marker down. The Biden administration's reputation will rise or fall by how Ukraine does in this war at home and globally. So by saying that Russia has to be weaker, one thing it's going to do is empower Ukrainians and Ukrainian troops, and also European allies are very concerned. A top EU official was in DC last week and said they believe if Russia isn't stopped in Ukraine, he's simply going to keep trying to take other territory. So it's an important message, but it also puts the US into a sort of declared proxy war against Russia, the kind it used to fight through other people against the Soviet Union. And it's sort of a creeping manifestation of the U.S. policy. While they're not directly trying to unseat Vladimir Putin, they're certainly giving every indication that they'd like to see that happen.
Major, the level of destruction we've seen, the number of atrocities that we've all witnessed now through images as Russia has, moved its way through different parts of Ukraine and seems to, be determined to continue. It just makes me question, what we're hearing when we hear from Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin that he believes Ukraine can win if they have the right equipment. We know what Russia's capable of. We're told more U.S. military aid is in the works, but is Ukraine getting what it needs fast enough?
Yeah, about a week ago, if you would have asked me that, I would have said no. But as of now, with the numbers and the speed at which we're delivering the heavier system, the artillery, the ammunition, the vehicles, Secretary Austin don't forget, is also one of our best generals. He knows what's needed. Russia's going to be defeated. I honestly believe that as well. Of course, there's a price the Ukrainians have paid up to this point. They're continuing to pay every day. But this amount of firepower and these tools and the training, it's coming in at really unbelievable speed. So I'm really confident that Ukraine is going to defeat Russia. Russia's already lost, actually.
What do you mean Russia's already lost?
From every measure, from the strategic down to the tactical, Russia has shown the world that they're not this big superpower, that they can't do basic military tasks. So in the overall picture, Russia has lost. He's lost generations of generals, and the number's like 10. It takes decades to replace that. This is costing him much more than we kind of see in the moment to execute this illegal invasion. And I agree, if you don't stop him here, there's no stopping him going other places. But by every measure, from the tactical, even in Mariupol, to the strategic, Russia is losing. It lost the Battle of Kyiv, and it's losing everything.
And Kim, despite these daily deadly strikes, the State Department says they plan to reopen the embassy as soon as possible, and American diplomats will return to Kyiv. We're seeing other countries do the same. Why now, and how risky is it?
Well, in one sense, the State Department has been kind of shamed into this because the Brits and others are sending their diplomats all the way back to Kyiv. But an important part of having a representative on the ground means face-to-face conversations with President Zelensky, fewer misunderstandings, and also a chance for U.S. intelligence to return and gather the kind of intelligence, whether it's defense intelligence or CIA, that they need to prosecute this war. And just to red team Major Spencer a bit, the problem is by the U.S. putting this marker down that they want to see Russia weaker, Russia hasn't yet declared a full war. It hasn't declared a full conscription of all 140 million plus of its population. And it's got a lot of equipment mothballed that it could pull out and repair and just try to do this by sheer force and mass, not skill. So that is the danger to saying the U.S. is winning, Ukraine is winning, when Russia is still fighting.
And every expert we've heard from essentially says this could be a very long, drawn-out invasion and conflict. Major John Spencer and Kim Dozier, got to leave it there today. I appreciate both of you as always. Thank you.